Hello, and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we're going to check in on Tradgram. Back in December, I did a series called 12 Days of Tradmas, which was a look at individual accounts that one way or another align themselves with the trad movement, and it was very interesting and eye-opening. On the surface, the trad movement looks very innocent and wholesome. They just want to go back to a time when people's lives were when people's lives were simpler, and when you knew your place and you knew what was expected of you and you knew your role in society. And then, if you look at their socials long enough, you'll discover the grimy underbelly of the trad movement. Like Wife in the Kitchen saying that Ilhan Omar should go back to the shithole country she's from. Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look and see what these folks have been up to. 8th century woodchipper says, sending daughters to college to go have a career is the primary cause of collapse of both marriage and birth rates. Not video games, not even porn. You are not allowed to say this, and even ostensible conservatives will lose their minds if you do. Biblical Femininity Bootcamp, aka Louise, says, it is a simple fact that every time a civilization highly educates women, the birth rate falls, the society collapses. I say, it is a simple fact that if the continuation of your society requires women to be uneducated, your society needs to be reconfigured. There are many alternatives to what you describe. It sounds like you're arguing just to argue and be defensive. Of course you don't beat your kids and feed them rocks. Instead, a person could, 1, ask God to help them heal the heart issues affecting why they don't want kids, because it's unnatural to not want a blessing, and also biologically unnatural as God made humans able to reproduce. 2, those that have kids, there are tough days. When you face tough days, also not regarding children, you don't just quit or avoid it. That's immature. You walk in the Spirit. You grow. You learn. You get better. You are refined by trials. This is a biblical way to face difficulty. Read blah blah blah. 3, finances. God is the provider. He owns everything. He is the God of affluence and need. He ordains both seasons. The Psalms says the righteous do not beg bread. Personally, we have never been able to make ends meet on paper, but God always provided for us. I took my 100th, felt like it, not literally, load of donations to Salvation Army this week, and I have no clue where it all came from. But God is a giving God, and He loves us and provided for us when we couldn't because we love Him and walk in His ways. I don't mean it in pride, that is available to anyone. So there are some biblical options besides what you presented. So please don't have kids if you don't want them. That's not fair to anyone, and there's nothing wrong with not wanting to have kids. Also, this, don't worry about it, God will provide, needs to go. It's great that it's apparently working for Louise's family, but, well, we should all also remember that though Louise enjoys giving advice, she does so anonymously. We have no idea who she is, just that she's married with kids, and really, we don't even know if that's true. Any goals to move to the US? Masculine Revival says, nope, I'm a Canadian. Globalism is everywhere. Gotta fight where you stand. Will the revival be televised? Masculine Revival says, if it is, they will call it a white supremacist, misogynistic, alt-right, anti-science, fringe conspiracy group. Clown emoji. Why do you think gender roles are natural and not a social construct? Masculine Revival says, because if we stripped away all the modern comforts of this world and found ourselves in a survival situation, men and women would organize themselves in a certain way, with very few exceptions. Deep down, everybody knows this. Men are better suited for X, women are better suited for Y. This isn't a social construct, it's built into us biologically. It's only in a culture of hyperabundance that we can momentarily delude ourselves into thinking that this isn't true. Is it just me, or do trad folk kind of look forward to an event happening that would put us into a survival situation? But anyway, I do believe he's talking about hunter-gatherer societies, and there is evidence of female hunters, and most of our calories came from gathering. So, would it blow his mind to know that ancient societies were more egalitarian than more modern societies? So Masculine Revival reposted some guys saying, polyamory/serial dating life is an outgrowth of consumerist culture in which your lovers are just as dispensable as the products you purchase, with built-in obsolescence to be replaced by the next shinier upgrade with new features to hit your frail ego and damaged dopamine receptors. And Masculine Revival asks if we agree or disagree. I disagree because, well, for one, polyamory and serial dating are two totally different things. In polyamory, you don't break up with a partner to date someone else. You date both. Oh, man. And I assume that someone who is serial dating is looking for some person to settle down with. They just haven't found that person yet. Are most women happier when they are leading their man in a relationship? Do the vast majority of women fantasize about being the one to make the decisions, manage their lives together, and chart their course as a couple? Is the average man happier when his wife is calling the shots and telling him what to do and how to be? The answer is obvious. For most people, most of the time, in most circumstances, man leads, woman follows is the answer. If you are triggered by that, sit with it and ask yourself why. So how does it read if we gender flip this? Does any of that sound appealing to men? No? Then why would you think it's appealing to women to be told they need to be led by a man as though they're a child? Why would you think a woman would want no say in their relationship? And what is this nonsense about being triggered? Why is a woman not wanting to be led being triggered, but if a man doesn't want to be led, he's just being a man? Women were created for men, for the household, and for her children. The modern woman has forgotten her purpose. Women were not designed for careers and hard work. We are now deeply unhappy because of it. Yes, she may work, but not be the sole or equal provider. Once she has children, they will need her at home. Her boss can replace her, her children cannot. Is this man seriously saying that growing a human and giving birth isn't hard work? I titled this image Yikes and Yikes. I do enjoy how women are, of course, responsible for humanity's unhappiness. They don't want you to have lots of kids and raise them with traditional values. They don't want you healthy and having your own independent thoughts. They want you docile, following the crowds, paying your taxes, and consuming propaganda by the spoonful. I just have one question. Who is they? Mental dominance is hot. A man who guides his woman when she's feeling lost and puts her in her place when she's doing something stupid will turn her on. Masculinity is powerful and attractive. So I'm just going to go ahead and say no thanks to this. Don't fall for the feminist narrative, I'm a strong, independent woman. Why be independent? Why not find a husband and fight as a team? Men and women are inseparable. Without one another, they are incomplete. Someone did ask, what about the LGBTQ? They feel pretty complete without the opposite gender as a partner. And patriarchal femininity says, that's what they tell themselves. So, yeah, this is the same person who does not believe people can be asexual. So I guess it does track that she believes people aren't actually gay. The patriarchy offers protection to females, while every matriarchy in history only had destruction to offer. Yeah, because there was never any destruction under patriarchy, but I did look into this because we don't really hear much about matriarchies, and I found a very interesting article that I will link below. Here's a little excerpt. Christopher Ryan, PhD, says, societies in which women's status is equal or greater than men's tend to be characterized by less conflict, greater social harmony, and higher levels of sexual interaction. I want to clarify that not all of my content is written for my followers. I know that may sound backwards, but lots of my content is a worm on a fishing line. I often post things that may seem obvious to my Christian followers, or that may come across as preaching to the choir. I have lots specifically for Christian women, of course, but some is for the unsaved souls wandering this app. Some of the hashtags I use, like divine femininity or Christian feminist, are things I don't believe in or agree with at all. But the point is that some girl out there trying to figure out her place in the world scrolling the divine femininity hashtag may see something that leads her to eventually discover the truth of the gospel. The intention behind many of my posts is to plant seeds of curiosity about faith. So I think it's just wise, with anything we come across on social media, before getting offended, to first consider that something might not be about you. Well, that is true, that just because you see something that hits close to home, it might not be about you, but I also find this a very, well, actually common practice. So I just want to say to any person in the trad movement that might be listening, if you use hashtags like, say, hashtag feminism or anything like that, you can't be surprised when someone who believes in one of those hashtags finds your posts and does commentary on them. Women still need protection. The real tragedy of the Me Too movement wasn't the magnitude of the sins of men. Abhorrent, of course, but not new news. The true tragedy was the complete and continuous disregard for the vulnerability of women and girls. What a historical moment wasted by both men and women applauding the bravery of speech while remaining silent on the truth of our obvious need for protection. And please do tell us, how do you propose women be protected? So this has been something I've been curious about for a while. So thank you for answering this question for me, but I wish the answer was different. So the question was, handling abuse as a biblical wife who obeys the commands for submission. First, create a safety plan. Lots of resources on Google for how to do this. Line up a safe place or person to flee to in case your safety is at stake. Do not skip this step. You need a safe place to go at any given time. Second, seek police intervention for your physical safety if needed and pastoral guidance for help navigating this within the marriage. Be impeccable with your speech, behaviors, and interactions. Your husband will have to answer for his sin. He will be held accountable for his horrible misunderstanding of biblical masculinity and leadership. He will answer for his inability to love your wife as Christ loves the church. You will also have to answer for all of your behaviors and words too. Just because your husband is sinning doesn't mean you can too. Obey the commands God has given to you. Trust him and put your faith in him. Pray without ceasing for your husband. Only God can soften such an ugly, hard heart. Confide in a safe and trusted person within your church community. Have them pray for both you and your husband. Sometimes it is too hard for you to pray in these situations. Having a trusted friend to do so is important. Don't wait for things to get worse. Flee if your personal safety is at stake and get help as quickly as possible. So 3 of them were good, and then it went off the rails. You are never responsible for the actions of your abuser, and nothing you can do will change their behavior. I do not understand how she can claim this is Christian. Everyone probably knows by now that I really love concrete examples of what submission looks like, so the question is, submitting to your husband regarding vaccinations. First, I think it's important to know that we are not to assume our husbands have commanded something of us if they haven't. It is perfectly fair to ask your husband if getting vaccinated is a decision you can make for yourself. It is perfectly fair to ask your husband if getting vaccinated is a decision you can make for yourself. If your husband says yes, great. Make your decision, and if he chooses to do something different, respect his choice too. As I mentioned, we are to submit in all things but sin. Some husbands have expected their wives to get vaccinated, but many Christians feel that it is a sin to vaccinate because some vaccines are developed using cells from aborted babies. If this is your stand, do the research. Get the facts you need to explain your position and do not submit to him if the Holy Spirit has convicted you that getting vaxxed is sinful for this reason. Regarding children, if you are uncomfortable with your husband's choice of whether or not to vaccinate your children, talk to him respectfully. Again, get your research lined up, have facts to support your position. If you feel you are sinning by making one choice or another, tell your husband your fear. Seek pastoral guidance and expertise if this is something you are struggling with. Pray, 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 and take it all to the Word. I just really can't get over, it's perfectly fair to ask your husband if getting vaccinated is a decision you can make for yourself. This person is a grown adult with children. Of course she can make that decision for herself. So Wife in the Kitchen did find my video that I did about her for 12 Days of Tradmas, and given that this commenter's name was Housewife, I do believe this was her response. There's so much wrong with this video, but I think the worst part is that you mentioned, even though she posted it publicly, it's still too personal to be picked apart by a stranger, but yet you're doing just that. I don't see a single thing on her page that was harmful or wrong in any way. She's an amazing person. So when I said too personal to be picked apart by a stranger, I meant I wasn't going to speculate on it, and I did not. Someone else commented that they were concerned for her child, and Housewife, which I'm sure is totally not Wife in the Kitchen, said, why? She'll be an amazing mother. And yeah, let's just have a look at some of her posts. My daughter will never go to college, no feminists, or have internet. I'm going to assume that was a joke or something because it's really hard to stay away from the internet these days. But if it's not, well, just seems a bit controlling. You're not autistic. You were raised without your father. My kids don't need braces because of meat and butter. Whenever you see a picture with same-sex parents, you're looking at a picture of a child missing a parent. But yeah, I'm sure she's lovely. So that trad girl also found the video I did on her. She posted it and my Instagram onto her Instagram with these comments. I find it funny how liberals like this woman are all about Black Lives Matter and all black voices should be heard, but clearly not me as a black woman because I simply don't fit their narrative of what a black woman should be like. Liberals are the most racist people. I thought my voice and opinions should be heard because I'm a black woman and my opinions matter, but I guess not to her because I don't fit her narrative of what a black woman should be like or think. If you're a black conservative or a black conservative traditional woman, we are basically chopped liver to them since we don't fit the narrative of what a black woman should be like. So first off, not a liberal. Second, I never tried to silence her. I never sent her any messages, commented on her posts, not that I could, since she has comments limited, or reported any of her posts. I simply made a video disagreeing with her beliefs, along with the 11 other videos I made in that same time frame, and her beliefs are still harmful and dangerous. But please do let me know if you find anything I say racist. Do you think women having so much choice is a good thing? Should women have less choices like the old days, or was feminism correct in allowing women to have it? I think women have too many choices today. It's like asking a toddler would they want cake or ice cream for breakfast. As a parent, you know all those options will lead to self-destruction. You as a parent knowing better would never give them that option. I think we need to do the same for women. Do you think a woman is incomplete without a man? Not saying she's worthless. God designed woman for man. Do you think a woman is serving her purpose of creation if she is single? I know some people are called to be single, but that's very rare and few. I think most women are meant to be married. I know a woman isn't worthless if she's single, but is she fully complete like most feminists say they are? Many women today are single, childless, in debt, or depressed because of the advice they had taken from older women. It is not men who women have to fear, but other women. Divorce, abortion, sexual liberation, careers, promiscuity, not having children, not marrying, and being single was mainly supported and still is by older women. The only person a woman should have to obey and take orders from is her father or husband, not a boss or employer. If your wife works, she will be taking orders and demands from another man other than you. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want that. Why would you want your wife being provided for and taking orders from another man? It's always so telling that they assume someone's employer is going to be a man. There was once a time where all of these issues women complained about were never an issue. Feminism caused issues and stress for women that are unnecessary. No woman should have to worry about working while pregnant, having to leave her baby after it's born. Women don't belong in the workforce. Feminism is a lie and does more harm than good. With female liberation comes great responsibility and consequences. So, no, women didn't have to worry about maternity leave because they would simply be fired. New issues doesn't mean there were no issues, and there were plenty of problems in the 1950s. I don't care what anyone thinks. I will continue to believe women don't belong in the workforce. I see the trouble and stress that comes with it. I love and support women so much that I think they deserve more than the workforce. It breaks my heart to see a woman have to leave her babies or work while pregnant, or having to deal with the stress of work in general. I pray for our women every day. This baffles me. Does she think the workforce doesn't stress out men? Does she think men wouldn't want to spend time with their family? Or is that simply just the way things should be in her opinion? So, as everyone knows by now, I really love getting my questions answered, and this person is answering, why are people attracted to the TradWife lifestyle? Traditional gender, sexuality, ethnic, and family identity are more strictly defined. Traditional milestones such as completing higher education, getting married, and parenting are becoming more important. Behaviors typically associated with tradition and values are more natural and comforting. Uncertainty about future financial stability is less common, leading to feelings of freedom and security. The rise of traditional communities based on social medias, community and family are more important than individualism, emotions, and emotional intelligence occupy an important position. Okay. So there's also a meme. The TradWife loves Christ, family, and husband in that order, feminine and modest, loves her God-given natural beauty and wears light makeup, loves and follows husband as the church follows Christ. Of course, the church is a building, but okay. Husband loves her as Christ loves the church. Beautiful figure from healthy homemade meals and following church fasts. In 20s, but already married with beautiful children. Long and beautiful natural hair. Homeschools children so they aren't taught progressive liberal BS. Prays without ceasing. Husband works hard to support the family. Has taught her children to memorize the Our Father, Creed, and Trisagion prayers from age 5. Bilingual and knowledgeable of family tradition and roots. Okay. The liberated feminist, I enjoy the quotes there, wears tons of makeup because of her low self-esteem, smokes marijuana, sleeps around to improve her self-esteem but it only makes her feel worse, got a crappy flower tattoo when she was 15, chubby from her diet of fast food and microwave meals, has disdain for men and male patriarchy. Male patriarchy, isn't that redundant? But complains that she can't find a decent man, thinks God is gender fluid, raised Catholic but hates church, has no moral code to live by, only endless nihilistic relativism, damaged hair from over-dyeing, fake cheddared tan, what is cheddared? Okay. Is that like the color of the cheese? The color of cheddar cheese? Believes guns should be illegal because of homicide rate, but thinks abortion should be legal. Wears clothing that barely fits her. Claims she's bisexual but has only dated men. Works minimum wage jobs because gender studies degree got her nowhere. Aborted her own child, has 3 cats, looks down on prayer. Alrighty, well that was something. Still wondering about this cheddar tan, but I'm just gonna let a few of their other posts pass without comment, and if you happen to be watching the screen while they do, I'm sure you will understand why. I'm going to put a picture of the cats up here to act as a palate cleanser whilst I talk. So, final thoughts. Everyone except Masculine Revival is female. I suppose I can understand how this movement might appeal to a man, but why are these women so eager to give up control over their own lives? Yes, as that trad girl said, with liberation comes responsibility and consequences, but actions have always had consequences, and why would you not want to decide your own life path? Why are these women so eager to give up their own agency? How sheltered do you have to be to think the right and only thing to do as a woman is to put your life in the hands of someone else, and they'll never abuse your trust or abandon you to figure things out on your own? I saw a lot of, I would rather be dependent on my husband who loves me than an employer who can fire me, but men are not immortal. Divorce happens. The only thing I can think of is that these women have no interest in living typical adult lives, and so they've decided to live like children and call it trad. I really don't know. This is puzzling and concerning. Please leave your thoughts below about why you think these women are into a movement that infantilizes them. As for the racism, well, apparently they've decided it's not enough to just bring the 1950s fashion back. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye!